All right, well, welcome back to the second installment of Coffee Talk with DQ, our once a month just chat where we give you a chance to learn more about some things happening here at Deaconess Pregnancy and Adoption. We've got our executive director, Heather Hales, with us here today, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of DPA and kind of how we became who we are. But as always before that, just a couple of housekeeping items for everybody to be aware of. Next Thursday, July 22nd, that's our annual monthly Give Back Night at Johnny's, all across the metro. So any day, it's not, or any time of day, it's not just dinner time, it can be lunch, dinner, whatever. But if you go into any Johnny's across the metro and you mention Deaconess when you place your order, we'll get 20% of the proceeds from your meal. So it's a great way to have a great burger, onion rings.
They have a good salad too,
yeah.
Surprisingly.
And really nice desserts, the chocolate pie. They also have a great rewards program. I'm not going to plug them, but if you sign up for the rewards program, you get like a little $5 gift card, I think. When you first sign up, you can do that. We still get the proceeds. But you have to mention Deaconess when you place your order. That's the key part of that. We also have a program with Minted.com year-round. I think people think of them as like Christmas cards and things, but they have a lot more stuff than that. They have, you can print photos on pillows and satchels and bags and all kinds of stuff. And if you go to Minted.com and use our code FundraiseDeaconess, all one word, it's fundraise, no D on the end of that, just fundraise Deaconess, all one word, you get 20% off of your order, savings for you, and Deaconess gets 15% of the proceeds from your order that way too. So, get some cool, back to school supply bags and things for your kiddos and all that kind of stuff.
They have some really cute gifts and stuff too, and like wrapping paper. They have a lot of things.
It's more than what I think. I always just thought of photos, Christmas cards.
Yeah, they have a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's really cool. Last thing, we are so close to 4,000 Facebook followers. I mean, we are like down to 7. We need 74 more, I think, as of this morning. And when we get to 4,000, we're gonna have a big shindig. We're gonna draw some Deaconess swag bags for 10 random followers. Nice. We got some Deaconess blankets, we got tote bags, all kinds of cool things in there. So if you're not already liking our Facebook page, which if you're watching the broadcast, you probably are.
But tell your friends.
Tell your friends, yeah. And so get us to 4,000 by the end of the summer, and we're gonna have a big party for it. It'll be fun. We appreciate that. It's also the best way to get to watch things like this. So
sure. Why would you want to miss this?
Yeah, which segue right away, right? Yeah. So again, we got our executive director Heather Hales here with us this morning. I just thought, it would be good to maybe talk a little bit about the history of Deaconess and how we came to be, because we got a long history. I mean, we've been here since before Oklahoma was a state. Yeah. So why don't you just start by telling us a little bit how Deaconess came to be, and how we got to who we are.
Sure. Yeah. I really love the history of it. I think it's really fascinating. But Deaconess was started by a group of female deaconesses that moved to Oklahoma Territory at the time from Wichita, Kansas. So they worked for a rescue home in Kansas, and they decided that there was a need here. So they actually moved to Guthrie, and they started serving the women and children in that town. So they would serve women that were working in the brothels and give them a safe place to live with their children. And I actually have a picture. This is the first home that they purchased in Guthrie. Unfortunately, it's no longer standing, but at the time they called it the Oklahoma Rescue Home. The first year they were in existence, they served 12 women and 26 children. And they also bought an additional property in Guthrie at one point. And then in 1910, for you Oklahoma history buffs, you'll remember Oklahoma became a state in 1907. Yeah. So in 1910, the needs of the state were changing, and they needed more property and more land, and so they actually moved here to Oklahoma City. And if you're from this area or familiar and you know where Deaconess Hospital sits, or what used to be Deaconess Hospital, sits on Portland, just south of Northwest Expressway, that's the land that they purchased. So originally they had dormitories for women that were planning to parent their children, as well as women that were wanting to place their children for adoption. And then they had a maternity hospital in the middle where they could deliver. They would bring in teachers from the Putnam City School District for girls that were still in high school so that they could continue their education. And they would also provide nursing training, and so that the girls could leave the home with a marketable skill.
I learned just last week from visiting with one of our supporters that does like ceramics classes and things.
Yes.
I didn't know that until he was telling me about the girls got like ceramics classes and different other skills and arts and crafts and things, which is kind of cool to know.
They did a lot. They brought a lot of people in to help serve the women and keep them where they could have activities and things to do while they lived in the home, because a lot of girls would live in the home throughout their pregnancy. Really, back in those days, there was so much social stigma and shame around an unplanned pregnancy that a lot of women, their families sent them here to live in the home while they were pregnant so that they could just not have to, have that be public. So there's actually, this is a picture, and this one may be a little bit harder to see because it's a little smaller, but this is the maternity hospital, and then this is one of the dorms, and over here is another dorm. This is actually Portland Avenue.
Just like today.
It looks exactly the same, almost. But what you can't see outside the picture is there were also train tracks that ran parallel to Portland Avenue, and so women would literally come from all over the country to stay here and have their babies. And then back here, you'll see all this land, which today is all neighborhoods and houses. But at the time, they bought the land, and it was a working farm. And so they would actually farm the land to help pay the doctors that would deliver the babies and to support the ministry. I'm not much of a farmer. I don't know about you, but that's not probably how we would be able to survive today. But they had that farm for many, many years. And really another interesting piece, there was an original group of women that moved here to start the home, and Lydia Newberry was the original director or kind of superintendent of the home, and she served for about 2 years. And then a woman named Anna Whitteman took over, and she served for the next 50 years. So that was a pretty long tenure for her, and so a lot of growth happened under Anna's leadership with the home, and they changed their name a few times. So the Oklahoma Rescue Home, or if you were familiar with the Holmes Home of Redeeming Love, or just the home, their newsletter would say the place where the light always shines. So.
And did she have a unique way of signing letters? Was that
she did? Okay, yeah, it was Anna. Yeah, her. Well, not email signature, but her actual letter signature was "For God and the Good of Humanity," Anna Whitteman. So we love to quote her around here for that. But so that was kind of the first 50 years. They had the maternity home and the hospital where the women could deliver. And then after World War II happened, there were so many veterans coming back into the city that we really didn't have hospital capacity at that time. So they actually decided to expand Deaconess Hospital into a general hospital at that time, and they maintained the adoption agency as a department. So they redid the hospital, greatly expanded the buildings and all of that, but they still had a maternity home on campus until the late 80s, early 90s. And the adoption agency and Deaconess Hospital were all under the same umbrella until 2005. And in 2005, the hospital wanted to go for profit and the agency wanted to stay nonprofit. And so they actually sold the hospital at that point. And Deaconess Hospital has since changed hands a few times, as we all know, but we're no longer directly affiliated. Right. So occasionally we get a random call for blood work or something like that, but we can't help you with that. But we have that shared history, but not the direct connection. And so really what happened from the sale of the hospital is they decided to take all of the money from the sale and form a foundation. And so that's the Butterfield Memorial Foundation is what formed at that time. And they put the agency as a subsidiary of the foundation. And that relationship still exists today. And so actually for those of you that have been to our current location where we've been for about 3 years, Butterfield actually bought this building and we have the whole first floor and they're upstairs. And they let us be here rent-free, which has been such a blessing. That was a huge deal for us. And so they're our parent company, for lack of a better term, and but that's kind of the history.
Yeah. And so that's why if you ever go to like our Amazon Smile page or whatever, you'll see where we share this is inside baseball. We share a tax ID with them.
Yes.
And so you'll see like our Amazon Smile charity is Butterfield Memorial Foundation, but it supports us. We get the proceeds from that. So, but if you ever need an IRS letter, our IRS tax ID is also the same one for Butterfield Memorial. Causes some confusion from time to time. But that's all why it is, and it's good to know. And I think the other good thing about this relationship with Butterfield, and like I said, they're right upstairs. We work real close with them. They're super nice, great landlords. We appreciate you guys, Hal and Deidre and everyone. We appreciate you guys being great landlords for us. But they provide that operational support for us, which is really cool because then that lets like our donors and supporters. All of your money goes straight to our mission and our work. Yeah. We don't spend any of the donation money on operational expense. We that money goes into our mission, which is taking care of expectant moms and birth moms and adoptive families and children and everyone who might need a search and reunion or counseling program and things like that. So it's a great relationship, and the history behind it is cool to know. And so but that allows us the freedom to really just your money goes straight back out the door to the mission of what we do, and so that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing.
It's a blessing to have that as an option.
Yeah. So, well, anything else you want to share about the history and just
I mean, I think, you know, we've been in existence for 122 years now. We've seen over 5,500 families created during that time. We've served over 14,000 women in unplanned pregnancies. And so that's just, it's a neat legacy to get to be a part of, and to get to, you know, for us to get to steward a chapter of the history is really, I'm grateful for it.
I know when we got to adopt our daughter, we got the book. There's a book about the history of Deaconess and the Deaconesses and everyone. We got a copy of that book, and it's cool to have that book and be able to share that with our daughter. By the way, I give a shout out to my daughter. It's her 9th birthday
Happy
today.
birthday.
So happy birthday, Hannah. We love you. And today's her 9th birthday. So 9 years ago, we got the call to come to the hospital. And it was Deaconess Hospital, actually, where we went. So, yeah, we got to go do that. So, but yeah, so if you ever want to learn about the history, we've got a few of those copies of the book left.
We have a few,
So, the history's great. And so it's great to know where we've come from and where we're going. So thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
This is water because I don't like coffee, but he told me I had to bring a coffee mug.
You gotta have the mug. You gotta have the mug. Hey, if there are any topics you want us to talk about in any upcoming Coffee Talk with DQ, let us know in the comments here, or reach out to us in some way. This is all new, so we're kind of just trying to do this. We want to talk about what the things you all want to know about. So if there's a topic you want us to address, let us know. But again, otherwise we'll see you the 3rd Thursday of August. Look forward to seeing you then. Thanks a lot.